neighbor as ourselves. May we serve in weakness and not in power, in compassion and not in condemnation, and in love. Amen. We've had two executive sessions. One October the 17th, we met with the Kickapoo Board, and we began negotiations with the Kickapoo Board. We're going to meet again with them next Wednesday. August 18th, we met with an attorney, and that's a summary of those executive sessions. Right now, can I get a board approval for our agenda, please? Got a motion by Renee, second by Rick. Any discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Need to approve the minutes now for July the 28th, 2016. In your packet, I've probably already read those. Maurice makes a motion to approve the minutes. The next second. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, going into new business. We recently had the auditor come down and audit our books. And right now, Kate, would you come forward, please, ma'am? This is our auditor. And she's going to give the report for us.
Okay, is that better? My name is Kay Dobbins. I'm an auditor at Thompson, Dairy & Craig, and I'm going to present the audit that we issued just last month. It's for the year ending December 31st, 2015. I'm going to read the audit report to you. Just bear with me. It's to the Board of Directors. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of Property Owners Association Hilltop Lakes, Inc., which comprise the balance sheet as of December 31st, 2015, and related statements of revenues and expenses and changes in fund balance and cash flows for the year that ended, and the related notes to the financial statement. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This includes the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. Our responsibility, the auditor's responsibility, is to express an opinion on those financial statements based on our audit. We conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. Those standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatement. An audit involves performing procedures to obtain audit evidence about the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. The procedures selected depend on the auditor's judgment, including the assessment of the risk of material misstatement of financial statements, whether due to fraud or error. In making these risk assessments, the auditor considers internal control relevant to the entity's preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the entity's internal control. Accordingly, we do not express such an opinion. An audit also includes evaluating the appropriateness of accounting policies and the reasonableness of significant accounting estimates made by management, as well as evaluating the overall presentation of the financial statements. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of Property Owners Association of Hilltop Lakes, Inc. as of December 31st, 2015, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year that ended in conformity with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. Last paragraph. Management has omitted information on future major repairs and replacements that accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America require to be presented to supplement the basic financial statements. Such missing information, although not a part of the basic financial statements, is required by the Financial Accounting Standards Board, who considers it to be an essential part of financial reporting for placing the basic financial statements in an appropriate operational, economic, or historical context. Our opinion on the basic financial statements is not affected by the missing information. We just disclose that it is missing. Okay, that's the opinion. We're going to talk about the balance sheet next. That's the first financial statement. At December 31st, 2015, the Property Owners Association of Hilltop Lakes had $612,000 of cash, $350,000 in CDs, about $163,000 of maintenance fees receivable, and $2.3 million of fixed assets, mostly common property, and a few other odds and ends of prepaids and inventories, for a total assets of $3.5 million. I'm sorry. I'll try to get better. And you had $3.5 million in liabilities. You had about $160,000 of accounts payable. You had $365,000 of prepaid maintenance assessments that you guys could prepay at the end of the year, and then a few other payables for a total liabilities of $603,000. Fund balance of $2.89 million for total assets. Total liabilities and fund balance of $3.5 million. I'm sorry. Somebody have a question? No. Okay. No. This is not something. I don't think you guys have a copy of this audit, although I think you can get one if you want one. Yes, sir.
I have a copy of the 12/31/15 balance sheet.
Okay.
Prepared by man. It shows assets $3,926,000. You said $3,500,000.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference?
Well, I don't know where, if that was one that was prepared before the audit was done, then my guess is it was mainly depreciation expense that had not been booked yet for the year. Depreciation was $255,000, so that's probably close to the difference.
I also have another question.
All right, sir.
On the financials, I've done them for 2013, 14, and 15.
Mm-hmm.
There were $125,667. This is on the financials prepared by man. $125,667 in trail fees for those 3 years. If you look at the expenses charged against that account, $4,085 during those 3 years. No capital expenditures were indicated against that account. Yet the balance sheet shows $32,056 in trail fee balance. That's $74,461 that's somewhere. Can you answer that question?
No, sir, I cannot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next financial statement is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance. Total revenue for 2015 was $2.4 million. Most of obviously maintenance fees assessed. Those were $1.9 million. have sales of lots and sales is things in the pro shop and post office and the restaurant, although nothing in the restaurant. Anything that's not maintenance fees is called sales. It was $421,000, and then interest and other income is $84,000, for a total of $2.4 million. And then expenses were also $2.4 million. So you have pretty much a break-even year. The net increase in your fund balance was $13,000. So you had a fund balance last year of $2.883 million, and this year you had $2.897 million. Slight increase. And the last statement, last of the financial statements is cash flows, and it reconciles the change in cash to net income. So I can tell you that your net income, as I said, was $13,736. Your total cash provided by operating activities like receivables, payables, inventories, all of that was $235,000. You used $170,000 to buy more CDs, put more in CDs. You paid $173,000 for fixed assets, and you paid $23,000 on your capital lease of those golf carts. Total use of cash, or total change in cash was $130,000. It's a $130,000 decrease in cash. And ending with a cash balance of $612,000. The note, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. I'm not aware of what discrepancies you're talking about. Again, I'm not familiar with that.
We will get an answer to John. We're going to do that.
The audit that we performed, does not look at every transaction that flows through your books and records. We could not possibly do an audit like that. So we pick a sample of transactions on both the revenue and the expense side, and we look at the underlying documentation. I'm guessing there would probably be, it would be in the tens of thousands of transactions that flow through your accounting software, your general ledger in a year. We don't look at a small fraction of that. So it is possible that there are things that you would call a discrepancy, or that you just don't understand, that we have not looked at. So that's why I wanted to read the opinion to you, where it says we are providing reasonable assurance that the financial statements are not materially misstated. Okay.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm John Fogg, I'm a property
Yes, sir.
owner, 111 Hopewalk. And did I hear you correctly that you are not responsible if there is some misstatement or fraud in the account, and that management would be responsible for that?
Absolutely, yes, sir. That is exactly correct.
So if there's money that has been moved off the books to another checking account, that would not be your concern?
If that had happened, I would have caught that. But if fraud happens, the auditors are not responsible for, we do not audit to detect fraud. An audit is not designed to detect fraud at all. Management is responsible for the preparation of financial statements that are materially correct and materially free from fraud or error.
Follow-up question. Have you ever heard of the Rolling Hills Golf Beautification Fund?
No.
You haven't had any discussions with any of the board members about it?
That was a beautification account I asked you about. That's what we had, donations on there.
Yes, okay, to answer your question, yes, I am familiar with that.
It's my understanding that the donations are from the pro shop of the POA. And it doesn't get into the general ledger because, pardon my French, it's skimmed off and goes into this special account. But you would not discover that.
Excuse me, we cannot hear what's going on over here.
May I have your microphone?
Yes,
Well, again, I would say that I'm not gonna respond to your question because it's well beyond what.
That's not your problem, okay?
Okay.
That's our problem.
So let's get back to the notes. In the notes, as I said, in the opinion, the paragraph says that management is responsible for the preparation of these financial statements and the note disclosures. Of course, as your auditor, we do assist in the preparation of the financial statements, and we talk about that, we disclose it. And I think that is fairly standard in the industry, that for entities that do not have a CPA on staff, that the auditors assist in the preparation of financial statements. But the note disclosures that are in these financial statements are the just absolutely typical required notes for any cooperative realty association. First one just says that Property Owners Association of Philip Lakes was incorporated in December 1990. We talk about how many acres are here and how many lots are here and how the association is governed. We talk about the basis of accounting, that you're on the accrual basis of accounting, that you have receivables and payables, and that you recognize your revenue as it is earned, and you recognize your expenses as they are incurred. We talk about the member assessments and how those are handled, and we talk about that the board does not usually make special assessments, but that it can if it needs to. We talk about income taxes, and we talk about the 1120H. We disclose that the association files an 1120H, which is a special tax return for homeowners associations. And we talk about your capitalization policy, and we talk about depreciation and the inventories, and we talk about accounts receivable, everything that, just about every account on your balance sheet that is significant has something about it in the notes. And they are absolutely the normal required disclosures that every organization makes. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the audit.
I have a question for you. Board member here. I have a question for you. Yeah, on your report, on page 2, where it has omissions of required statement information about future major repairs and replacements. Talk to us about that, because you state in your opinion that management has omitted information on future major repairs and replacements that accounting principles generally accept in the United States. Talk to me about that, and what does that actually mean?
Yes.
We omitted it because...
I did read that.
You did read that, yes.
Yes. And
But explain it, please.
Well, the FASB, we call it the FASB, the Financial Accounting Standards Board, has said that cooperative realty associations should annually do a study of their common property and find out how much it would cost to replace it, and that they should start or have a fund, and they should have a plan as to how they're going to raise the money to fund that replacement. That is a required supplementary disclosure that the FASB has said for common interest realty associations. It is not at all uncommon for common interest realty associations not to do this, because it is very expensive. Basically, that's it, because it's very expensive. So, the FASB, or the AICPA rather, has included in their guide to auditing common interest realty associations. It is so common that they've included this language as one of the paragraphs that you can add to your opinion. I've seen many reports for common interest realty associations, and at least half, probably more, have this paragraph because most don't have the money to pay for this annual study. So that's what it is. It is strictly a financial decision. Do you want to pay the money? And if you do have the study and you know that it's going to cost, let's just say $10 million to replace the common property, then you're at least have to consider how are we going to raise the money, because you're supposed to start then funding that at 25% a year or something until it's fully funded.
Because on page, on page 9,
Louder.
I don't think
on
that's
page, on page,
1, 2, there it is. Page 9, the notes. We have in there $400,000 that we added this year as a replacement reserve. Does that not go toward answering your question? It's not a study.
It's because you have to have the study.
So it requires a study.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Of all.
It does.
I have just one more question, then I'll turn it over to Rick. In your letter to us, you stated that we have a material weakness in the statement to us.
Yes, sir.
And could you talk to us about the material weakness that we have and how we might remedy that?
I don't have a copy of that letter.
Shall I read it to you?
No, I know what it says.
Okay.
Every year for the past, I can't remember how many years, the board has received a letter that says, during our audit, we formed an opinion that you have a material weakness in internal control and financial reporting because you don't have anyone on your staff who is capable of producing financial statements that are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. With U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. That's not to say that you don't have a competent bookkeeper on your staff, but there's no one on staff who could take the trial balance that Kelly does and massage that and make the adjustments and draft financials. So that's what that is. And until you do that, until you have someone on staff that can do that, or until you pay another CPA firm to do that before your auditor gets here, you're going to continue to get that comment. And it is extremely, extremely common for small organizations to get that comment. Almost every audit we do, that they get that comment.
But you're also going to say that you do it before you perform your audit. So if you do it before you perform your audit, why do you list it as a material weakness?
We're not management. We can't be your...
No, I'm just saying, you added a sentence after that that says, because companies choose not to do that, they allow the auditor or your firm to do that prior to the audit. So since we're sort of addressing that issue, why does it show up as a material weakness?
If we didn't list it as material weakness, then we would no longer be independent and we could not do your audit.
I see. Okay, that's my question.
Can everybody hear me? Yell, sorry. Isn't it now? We're good? Okay, my question goes back to the study. And a couple of things. You said the study, you have someone come in and do it as a contractor or whatever. That includes amortization for buildings, major equipment, infrastructure, things like that. I'm asking, that's not a statement. Does it also mean that that's a multi-year program? Not just for the next year, it's because some of these things are over time and more like a strategic plan of replacing or repairing or that type of thing. Is that what we're talking about?
What I've only seen one or two of these. So what I've seen is that there are consulting firms that do this, that's all they do. but they will come in and they will look at every piece of equipment you own, every building you own, all the fencing, everything, and they'll tell you, this is what it would cost to replace this at today's prices. And then your role then is, if you have to decide, are we gonna try to build up a fund for this, or are we just gonna do special assessments when the time
And then it
rises?
becomes prioritization,
Yes,
based on risk assessment, risk
Yeah.
aversion, and then try to fund it out in the long term.
That's right.
Which most places, do it by assessment,
right.
which means everybody gets a big bill at one time.
Yeah, and that's why it's rare. But not unheard of. I've seen one or two. Yes, sir, Mr. Law?
You mentioned accounts receivable, and we're on the accrual basis.
Yes, sir.
Aren't there many lots that are not being billed on an annual or a monthly basis?
Well, I believe the decision was made, I can't tell how many years ago it was, that for the ones that are already over like $10,000, I don't remember the exact number, there's some really big number, that for those, they stopped sending out statements and they stopped accruing the monthly fee.
Did we write off any accounts receivable during this 2015 calendar year because they were not extremely old, but maybe they were old?
Not that I'm aware of, sir. When we get here, when I do the audit, and I say we, it's me, you know, if you looked at your, at the subledger, AR subledger, maintenance fee subledger in the GenArc software, the balance is, I think it's like something like 14 million. It's huge. But probably 90% of those accounts are so old, they're not collectible. And so for me, as your auditor, all I care about is how much of that 15 million or whatever it is, how much of that is really collectible. And it's a really small number.
I've been trying since January to get access to that file. That's another issue.
Yeah.
Now, when they send the chart of accounts and the general ledger and everything to you, do they send you hard copies?
I don't get the general ledger. I just get the
The
trials.
documents that you do get,
No, it's not hard copy, they send me electronic.
is there any personal and confidential information?
I mean, like what? Like,
Social security numbers,
No,
bank
no, sir.
account numbers, or property?
not one bit.
Thank you.
We're gonna be discussing.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I just have one more question of the auditor. I have one more question of the auditor. In the notes, you make a reference to the basis of accounting and then fund accounting. And you talk about this association maintains its accounts using fund accounting. Would you explain to us and to educate me a little bit more? What is fund accounting?
Well, your financial statements are done using fund accounting. Fund accounting is required for common interest realty associations. You're supposed to have an operating account and a replacement reserve account. Those are your required funds. And so that means they are on the accrual basis as receivables, payables, but it is still fund accounting.
So we're interested more how money is spent rather than how money is earned. Sort of
I'm sorry.
how we're spending our money is what you're doing,
Well,
as opposed to how we're earning our money.
no, that's not what that- fund accounting is, you guys do have money that you have set aside for reserve. It's like a reserve. And at December 31st, it was $400,000. And that's why on your balance sheet, I know you haven't seen that. If you want to get a copy of the audit, I believe there would be one available for you in the office. But on your balance sheet, your audit balance sheet at December 31st, 2015, I show a balance of $400,000 in the maintenance reserve. Although it's not in a separate account, you're not required to actually keep a separate bank account for that, but you do track it separately. There, thus the fund accounting. It's almost quasi-governmental. Not right. Anything else? All right. You go back, Brian.
Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate it. All right. Do we have a motion to accept the auditor's report?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
That makes a motion. Second. Laurie, seconded. Do we have any further discussion on the audit? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Okay. Next item, discussion and possible action, a solution to granting property owner's request. This is Mr. John Falk, and by order of the JP Court, he has told us to come into the next open session and discuss and figure out a way to provide Mr. Falk with the information he has requested. Each one of y'all have that on hand now. And need a motion to accept his request and go to work on that. Provide it. How do we want to provide it?
I'll make a motion to accept the request.
Okay.
Would you read the motion, please? Not my letters requested, but what y'all's motion?
Motion, request for a motion was to accept.
What we're going to do, you want us to read what you've requested?
No, sir. What is your motion? What are y'all voting on?
We're going to vote.
Somebody needs.
You have asked, sir, you have asked,
Someone needs
you
to
have,
move.
hold on,
Someone needs to make a motion.
hold on.
I make a motion on item B, discussion and possible action solution to granting property owner's request. I make a motion that we
We can't hear you.
discuss. I'm making a motion that we adopt item B under new business, discussion possible action solution to granting property owner's request. That's my motion, to accept item B,
Okay.
discussion.
Renee, what we want to do, we need to determine how we're going to present, how we're going to provide the information to it. That's what we want to do. I need a motion as to how we put it, either hard copy or electronically. That's what I need.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you wanted to just put it on the table and then go from there.
I think you will agree that the property owners of Hilltop Lakes have a right to ask for certain information from the board. Is that true under 209?
Am I allowed to speak?
Sir?
Am I allowed to speak?
No, I just asked you a question. Is that true that the property owners have
Am I
the same?
allowed to speak, yes or no?
Not right now, I'm making a motion. Do you also agree that the association has a right to choose the way information is given? Must provide property owners information that is clean and there can be no identity theft. We cannot put ourselves at risk of putting any information out there that you could become, or any property owner could become a identity theft person. Well, if you want to joke about it, folks, let your social security number and ID numbers or any of that information, anything that can identify you as far as identity theft, we cannot put out there. Then we make ourselves liable.
Okay. Joe,
Now,
we need a motion.
I make a motion to make it our policy to follow to and all the information requested will be given in hard copies that can be whether viewed or taken. No electronic scanning will be allowed. No electronic or scanning will be allowed. Copy of appropriate bill requester and must be paid prior to production of the request according to 209. We will follow the law for reimbursement or additional charges if required under 209. That's my motion.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? We have a second by Ken. Okay, now we can discuss. Anybody on the board have anything to discuss at this point? Mr. Falk?
Randy, on 2 different occasions, I have asked you to sit down with me, have a workshop, possibly without.
Yes, sir, you have.
May I finish speaking, or
Yes,
are you
sir.
going to interrupt me?
You
if I
have. I'm disagreeing with you, sir.
Or you're interrupting me?
And I agree with you.
Okay, and you have refused to do that.
I agree there too.
Okay, so,
You know why? Let me tell you why.
no, don't interrupt me, let me continue talking.
You want me to speak or not speak?
Not speak.
Okay, thank you.
Because my questions are really rhetorical, and I'll answer them for you, based on my knowledge. Now, the judge did order that it be put on the agenda for tonight. But in the discussion, he said for you guys to sit down, work out your differences, and make it happen. So, you guys have met my expectations because I knew y'all were gonna block it. So, call your new attorney, tell him I'm going to the JP tomorrow, and we'll be back in court to get this resolved.
Okay. The judgment was for us to be in open session in our next agenda, to put you on our next agenda. That's what he said. He didn't say for us to meet you in a special meeting or anything else. He said, and we're going quiet, or we're going to close the meeting. We can't have that. We're discussing it.
This is not the place to discuss it.
All right. One more outburst, folks. We will adjourn this meeting, and we'll have to come back at another time. Now, let me talk. Let me finish talking, Mr. Falk. No. Let me finish talking. You had your speech. We're going by what the judge told us to do in open session.
You're not.
Are you through, Ms. Lovett? We're trying to discuss with Mr. Falk. Now,
That's Mrs. Falk. She's my wife.
all right. We're doing exactly what the judge asked us to do. He asked us to come in open session, put him on the next agenda, discuss this, and come up with a solution to provide you what you want, how we want to produce it. That's what we're doing. We have agreed to do, we are going to do what you asked. We're going to give you what we can legally give you, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to give it to you. But we're going to go by the law, John.
Call the vote. See you in court.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to do that. And do I have a second? I have a second. Do we have any more discussion? Okay. Do we have a vote of hands right here to approve that motion? We haven't done that yet. We haven't done that. Right now, we're putting it as something to make this our policy. What Jack's asked to do is make it our policy to produce hard copies in the future for all requests. That's what he's asked for. Instead of electronically, to produce them in hard copy. That's what Jack's motion was. Absolutely. So that we can properly redact and that we can print. Okay, that's the motion that's on the floor right now. Everybody, be quiet, Mr. John. We've got this. Be quiet, John. We're not through with you yet, John. All right. Now show of hands for Jack's motion right now. Do we have a show of hands?
Come on, guys.
Oh, come on.
Okay. All right, hard copy. Okay, that's me. Now, what I need now is a motion to provide John Falk with the items that he has requested that we have legally can provide for him. That's what I need in a motion.
Hard copies, I will not pay for it, so do not waste.
John, we're having,
Don't
John,
waste the staff
John,
time
have a
like
seat,
you
please.
did Back in 2000.
All right, we got a motion.
Out of order. Yes, I am.
I make make a motion that we provide him the information that we can't legally provide as requested.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Renee second. Any more discussion, guys?
In electronic form.
Any more discussion? Okay. See a show of hands, please. Everybody in favor? Yes. All in favor? Okay. Ma'am, please be quiet. We're having a meeting up here. Please. Next item. We are going to provide John Falk with the items that he has requested.
Don't waste your time. See your report. The CPA said there was no Social Security.
John, that discussion's over. No more talking, John. No more talking. We're going to provide you what you asked.
I asked for an electronic copy.
We're going to provide you with the documents how we want to provide them, which is hard copy.
I will see your report.
That's the way we're going to do it.
Don't waste your time.
All right. The next item on the agenda is approval of the Finance Committee. Renee has brought that to us. And Lord, Renee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been spending the last 5 months trying to work my way through our budgets and get an understanding of what we're all about before I actually put together a finance committee. And then I realized how limited I was in accounting, so I thought I need a committee that had accountants on it. So I've identified 4 individuals that I'd like the board to approve to work with me. And what we would do from this day forward, Mr. Chairman, is start working on next year's budget and getting with Kelly on preparing the budget with other department heads, and present the board with a budget that will not only have funds for capital equipment, but also for capital improvement. So we'll find a way to make that happen in the budget for next year. So the members of my committee that I'm looking for approval are, and I think some of the members are here, Janice Hall, Jim Hine, Kathy Gilroy, and Karen Thompson. And it's a 4-member committee because some of these individuals are working, so they won't always be available to meet with me. So at least I'll have a couple of people on the committee that can meet with me as we call the meeting. So I'm asking, making a motion. Can I make the motion? Yes, sir. I make a motion that we approve the individuals identified to serve on the Finance Committee.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second to form a finance committee with those members? Do we have a second? We have a second, Rick. Any discussion? No discussion? No.
The problem that I have is that as I read the bylaw, board is responsible, we are the stewards of the
Yes.
funds,
Absolutely.
correct?
Correct.
I don't know any of these people, I'm sure they're wonderful people, I'm not questioning
Right.
their credentials. But I don't know them, I know nothing about them, and I would like the opportunity to maybe bring them in, meet them, have some discussions with them.
Sure. I mean, I'd be happy to bring the committee and meet with the board, absolutely. So that I'm planning to bring them and meet with Kelly so we get to know each other. And I think that you should know who they are and kind of what our work will be, because we'll get together as a group, plan our work, and then what I hope we can do is have a full meeting of the board with the budget committee to plan next year's budget and prioritize those capital items that are so important to us, and that we try to fund them so that we can make those happen. But absolutely, I think you should meet them, and I'd like to have the board meet them at one of the meetings. Perhaps next meeting I'll introduce them and give them a chance to introduce themselves to you.
All right. We still have a motion. Any other discussion? Any discussion at all? Okay.
My only concern would
Okay.
be, like Jerry's saying,
We
don't know these people. I would prefer to vote on it after we've had the opportunity to meet them and discuss this.
Ken, I know of most of the people, and they all have accounting backgrounds. I know that. And
Mr. Chairman, we have summary.
I think one is a Gap. Is one a Gap? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, yes. But some of the committee members aren't here. If you'd like me to ask them to introduce themselves. Rick, give it.
Is any of those members here? Any of those
I know that Jim Hine was traveling and couldn't be here.
Maybe give some of your credentials.
Would you give us a little bit of your background, just real quick?
My name is Janice Hall. I've been a CPA for about 20 years. I do accounting software. I work with clients all day, every day. A lot of accounting. I'm a nerd accountant and I like technology. I'm looking forward to help work on the budget kind of stuff.
Thank
I've
you.
been a resident here 2.5 years, live on the lake, I love it.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kathy Gillen. I don't have an accounting background, however, I have 32 years of computer experience, and I've dealt with a lot of accounting systems, and I know how to install accounting systems, and I know how to make things work. I've been here at Hilltop Lakes since 2008, but I've owned property here since 1999. I like Hilltop, and I really am looking forward to working with you, and I hope that all of you will too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. The other two are out of the city, so I'll you know, so. And I will ask them to come at our next meeting and introduce themselves as well.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Let's show show of hands for those who approved. We have 2, 4.
Gary,
Those against?
Mike, where are you?
1 against. Well, we've already called the question, Maury. Who is it, Mark? Well, got 2 against. 2, 4. You're abstaining. Gab's abstaining. Okay.
President Reagan.
Again, the only reason that I am abstaining is,
Okay.
I know these are wonderful people,
What
but
we'll
I
do?
don't know what the mechanics of this financial
Okay.
committee are. We've had no discussion.
It failed to pass by tie, so what we'll do is we'll meet with those, and I'll put it back on the agenda for next month, so we'll know what we're doing, and I think y'all will be comfortable with those folks after we meet with them. Okay? That's where we'll do that. Thank you. All right, the next topic is changing our legal counsel. Like I said, we had a closed session. We met with an attorney from Bryan. They're much closer to us. Instead of them coming out here, we'll be able to go there and meet with them. That'll save us quite a bit of money. We've met with him, and we were all impressed with him. And at this point, I take a motion to accept changing to the name of the account. West, Albright, and Gentry out of Bryan, Texas. Do I have a motion to? Let me call it station. Everything's Bryan to me. Okay, do we have a motion to accept them as our new legal counsel? Ken makes that motion. Do we have a second? Maurice seconds. Any discussion? No discussion? Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. All in favor, raise hand. That's unanimous. Just want to let everyone know that 4 of us went over to Centerville. The next item on is a meeting with Trent Ashley's office. We went over there to meet with him in regards to the Open Records Act and the abuse of the Open Records Act. And because she was very interested in hearing what we're dealing with, because they are working on a bill right now to stop the abuse. They said it's happening all over the state. She was telling us one county is just basically being destroyed. And So we met with them, and they are doing a bill. They're working on a bill for next legislature. They said they're absolutely for transparency, but they want to help communities stop the abuse. So that's why we met with those folks. And that's that. All right, now we're going into the reports. Treasurer's report, Renee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The financial summary that was up for you all to look at. Okay, there we go. I'll go over it very quickly. It's a summary of business for the month of July, from the 1st through the 31st. We had income from the departments and from the golf course trail fee. The golf course trail fee income was $1,510 for this period, for a total income of $224,498. Our expenses this month were a total of $223,906, which gave us a net gain of $592. Capital outlays this time, we finally got the pool. I think the balance for the pool repair has been paid. It's $4,000 out of our capital fund. And resurfacing the tennis court for $8,365, for a total of $12,365 out of capital outlays. Our capital fund now balance for the capital fund is $14,018. The trail fee is at $52,636, and our prepaid maintenance to date, from January the 1st to date, is $279,605. So if you look over on the final column where we show our monies, you'll see that we had a total of prepaid expenses for this month of $27,974. So the total money that we have in the banks today, $859,641, less our designated funds, which are listed on the left-hand column under designated funds of $549,867,000, which leaves us $309,774 for operations, total available for operations. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Question.
Thank you, Renee.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Renee, on the capital expenses on the $30,000 for the board for the golf course, was that bought out of the trail fee?
Was it borrowed?
Yeah. Did the trail fee money pay for that?
For the Greensmore?
That's that Greens people more.
Part of the trail fee money paid for it, and part of the capital money paid for it, yes.
How much of the trail fee money?
About, I think I remember, it was about 10,000.
Okay. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any more guys? ACC, Jerry?
As of July 2016, we have 16 active permits. Houses, we have 5 permits. Extensions, we have 1. Lot clearings, we have 3. Storage buildings / garages, we have 4. Septic systems, we have 1. Sitting area, 1. Concrete work, 1. Carports, 1. Permits issued during July 2016, 3. Permits closed during July, 12. Violation letters sent out, 2.
Go ahead with the lakes report, Jerry.
On the lakes, last meeting, there was a couple here that was concerned about a report of alligators in Lake Cherokee. We got the game warden out finally. He says that they did put out 1 line. He says he doesn't expect to catch anything. He said in the heat of the summer, the big gators go into heat. So the little gators know to leave. So the little gators probably, according to them, come from Norman's Lake, come up the tributaries up here and hang out here until they feel like it's safe to go home. and then they head back out of here. And he said that's why they sporadically show up here and then they disappear. So hopefully they're gone. Hopefully they'll leave soon. That's it.
Okay, thank you. EMS, is there any EMS report? Ms. Finnegan.
Thank you, Randy. I'd just like to report that for the month of July, fire operations, we had 23 calls. There were 9 fire calls, 11 EMS assist calls, and 3 mutual aid calls. Volunteers committed a total of 88 hours in July. And in addition, there were 2 training sessions. We checked 1 truck, and 1 tanker was fitted for repair. On the EMS side, we had 22 calls in July, 16 transports. The average out-of-chute time, and that's a term that pertains to how quickly do the people get to the ambulance and leave the station. And the average out-of-chute time was 2 minutes, 21 seconds. The average response time, the time to get from the station to the call location, was just a little under 9 minutes. The longest was 22 minutes, but we had to go off Hilltop Lakes. But it's amazing that we're able to make those kinds of times for the staff that we have. We're very well served. I'd like to report also that we turned into the Emergency Services District our proposed budget for 2017, and we're a ways away from 2017, so our budget is an empirical based on a projected 2016, but just to get an idea of the numbers, we're talking about a planned income for 2017 of $343,000, and that includes $190,000 from the ESD number 2, $110,000 in ambulance billings, and $43,000 in other minor fundraisers and other grants and things like that. So $343,000 is our projected income for 2017. Our projected expenses are $366,000, which leaves us a deficit of $23,000, which we'll have to make up by fundraisers or some other type of event. But the number that's the most important is the fact that we are paying paramedic and EMT salaries, and our medical director amounting to $226,000. That's a lot of money, folks, for the kind of service that we provide, but it's worth it, worth every penny that we spend. And we're even working now on trying to figure out other ways to cut our expenses so that we'll end up at least with a break-even position. One of the things we can do is raise money, and in that regard, I'd like to mention that on September the 10th, we're having our annual golf tournament, and ask you your participation. If you all will come out and participate in the golf tournament, sponsor a hole, whatever it is you'd like to do, that will help us defray our deficit for the coming year. So not only do we have to provide our own funds, but we have to depend on the Emergency Services District for funds and on fundraisers. So any help you can give us would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jim. If y'all haven't been over there to the new building, you need to go check it out. It's a really, very nice building, so if you haven't been in there, you need to go check it out. It's really nice. Airport.
Anytime anybody would like to come in, we'd be glad to.
It's nice. Airport report.
Mr. Chairman, it's working, I hope. Okay, previously we had a contract to do the shredding and restoring the taxiways back to their 60-foot width as they were designed to be. That was done completed satisfactorily. There was a second phase of that, which was to go by those areas that were shredded, is to poison the pond, go back, shred it again, break it up, grapple it, take it over, and put it in the burn pile. 4 of the taxiways were finished, and we still have 3 remaining. So that will be the long-term fix. It'll kill the goat pond off. It'll save the the mowers that they can mow the whole width of the passageway. So that second part of the phase is all being done with equipment and everything wherewithal from the hill or from the main store.
That's it, thank you. Oh, the golf course report. Golf course is open 7 to 6 on Sundays, Friday through Saturday, 7 to 7. Rent carts have to be in at 7:30. The range closes at 7. Tournament income for the 13th had MGA play day. Tournament income on MGA was just $42. Income for the day was $1,030. The upcoming tournaments, the volunteer fire department, like Jim said, is at September the 10th. Shotgun start, it's $40 per person. Or you can sponsor a hole. September 17th and 18th is a 2-man tournament. It's pending. It hasn't been solidified yet. 9/22 and 9/23, the WGA Ladies Golf Championship. They will have tee times. 9/24, the SUNY Wharton Memorial. It's a shotgun start at 9. This tournament was moved to this date due to rain. They have over 80 players coming, so all pro shop that day. We had 40 9-hole cart rentals, 206 18-hole. Carts brought in $5,964. She sold $3,048 in merchandise, $16 for club rental. The driving range brought in $1,688. The green fees brought in $3,135. Bending $1,973. The pavilion $40. The scanner's been down, so she doesn't have an accurate number on the number of players. Income total was $15,865. I believe that's all in the golf. Oh, well, I'm going to cover that later. Then we got Patrol. Patrol did not give me a report this month. Do we have Alan's here from the stables? Anybody from the stables? Give a stables report. All right, we don't have that. Only thing I have on the president's report, the pool is closing now at 8 o'clock. The pool will not be manned after Labor Day. The Unity in the Community Work Day will be this Saturday at 8 o'clock. Meet at the Welcome Center. They're going to clean up 2 yards and also paint the library, the addition to the library on the inside. So if you want to participate, bring some tools and join in on the fun. The blue ribbons out on the horse and on the trees. Somebody put those up that we recently had about, 30 officers here. They had to come out and they do a class on how to respond to dogs when they attack. Believe it or not, every peace officer in the state has to go to class. It's 8 hours. So somebody put those up for the officers that came there, and we're just leaving them up because of all the stuff that's going around the country with the attacks on police officers. Also, the ice machine at the golf course is now working. I'm not sure exactly what they told us. It was a warranty problem, something within the, I forget what part, but it was stuck. And they said they were having a problem with those. We thought it was a mistake that somebody made, but it wasn't. That didn't cause it. So it was a warranty problem. Didn't cost us anything. We got plenty of ice now for the golfers. And that's all I have. Right now, we'll have members to be heard. Please keep your comments or your questions to 3 minutes, and we'll take those questions now. If we'll probably get back to you on the answers on most of them. So with that, we'll go ahead. Mr. Koontz.
I have a question for Renee on the financial report you gave a while ago. For the restaurant, I I see no income but an expense of $2,502. What's our expenses on that?
Our expenses are the utilities that we pay for the
So
restaurants.
we don't get any income on it whatsoever?
We get rent from the restaurateurs, as I understand.
Why doesn't that show up as an income?
It's gonna show up.
How much is it?
Right, it's $200 a month, is that right? Right about that. It's not a large amount of money, but it is income that should be shown, and it'll come in next
How
week.
come it hasn't been shown?
Why hasn't it been?
Yes, but she's been
That's one of the
written
things
for
that
a while.
If you want to speak, please raise your hand.
Let me just,
Okay.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Finish.
But
Wait.
how long have they been paying rent?
Well, that's one of the things I'm working on, just to bring in some corrections. Like the auditor said, she doesn't look at everything, just a snapshot. What I've been working on is bring things that are brought to my attention like this has been, and it'll show up in our financials next month and the month after.
Okay, thanks.
It is under income.
Right. It's coming in, it's just not shown here.
Yes, ma'am.
She's been written for. First, I want to apologize for my outburst earlier. I've never in my life said that word out in public. But I have to tell you, I do not understand why we just had an auditor sit here in this meeting and tell us she gets digital. Let me ask you.
Can you come up? We can't hear you.
We can hear you earlier, but not now.
Please state your name.
My name is Marion Falk. I'm Mr. Falk's wife. And again, I apologize for my outburst earlier. I have never in my life said that word out in public. But I do not understand. We sat here in this meeting and heard our auditor tell us she receives digital trial balances, whatever. They have no personal information on them. I'm an accountant. I know that's what you get. You don't get personal information. Why do you all want to put your staff through the awful task of redacting all that information from hard copies when, what does it take? 5 minutes to make a backup on the
Yes, ma'am. I can answer that.
thank you.
We've had two different attorneys tell us not to do that. They said the best way to do it is by hard copy to protect our property owner's information. I ran
It
in.
makes no sense.
You asked me to answer and I'm answering it. That's why we did it. We also, when we met with Trent Ashby's representative, Linda Parker, she recommended absolutely by hard copy. So we've had 3 different people recommend that. And that's what we're gonna go with.
Did they give you a reason?
Yes, ma'am, I just said, so to protect the property owners,
What
personal
personal
information.
are we getting with the auditor?
That's why we're doing that. That's
That
why we're
makes no
doing
sense.
it.
It's good.
Man, we have account numbers on there, we have social security numbers in there, we have a lot of things in there.
Not on a trial balance or a general ledger or any of that
Well,
stuff.
ma'am, we have a legal right also, as Mr. Falk said, we have a legal right to choose the way we do it. It's in the law.
It says either.
Let the judge.
Right, we have the choice.
Let the judge.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I took it upon myself, flog me, but we were live streamed tonight for the first time ever, and it was easy to do. This is my own personal equipment with my photography business. I do not mind doing this, but I think you need to find a permanent solution, and I will help you find that for not very much funds. Also, about the ice machine. The ice machine that I saw today in both the pro shop area, the golf little ice house, neither one of them looked like it was a new machine. Just saying.
Okay, let me explain that to you.
Okay.
When you buy an ice machine, You buy the ice machine, and you buy the bin below it.
Okay, so I.
The bin is old because they're expensive. The ice machine itself was $2,200. That's the machine on top. It's brand new.
Okay.
It's brand new, I promise you.
That makes
We have
sense,
a warranty on it.
but it could have been cleaned a little bit on the outside too. This looks kind of tacky.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Elmendorf.
I've been looking at the black material on the ceiling,
Yes, sir.
and I know that we had roof leaks in the past, and we put new shingles on the roof on the outside, but my concern is that there's black mold in the ceiling, and I'd like to know how we're gonna fix it.
We've already done the work on the front side. We bought scaffolding to do it. And learned that Rick is now in charge of maintenance. He's gonna get the guys, we're gonna be doing this also. We're gonna be fixing this ceiling, getting everything put back and do it the proper way. Rick's in charge of that. He's gonna get the maintenance to take care of it.
Are you gonna take down the bad?
I have no idea. I can't answer that. We're gonna do it, whatever way to do it right way is what we're planning.
They took off everything on the other side and they scraped it all off, or they'll do the same thing.
It's in the process. It's coming.
Well, I'm agreeing with the chairman, but the caution is to throw it around the word black mold, because the insurance implications and everything else with that, the taxes are kind of heavy, so is it not working? No. Sorry. I would just caution it, until we find out what kind of mold it is. Black mold is kind of, you don't want to say it. If it is, that's fine, but if it's not, it gives there's a lot of more things. It's almost as bad or as worse as asbestos. You have special people, special gear, which means we close the building. That's what it is. So, I mean, we need to find out what it is, see the extent of the damage. Once we determine that, we're going to do all that. You come in, people around equipment and everything else, and start to fix the place.
So I'm hoping you will have masks for people that are working up.
People don't have to meet OSHA standards. I mean, we do it, we make them do what we're required to do. But some contractor, as part of the contract, is you meet OSHA standards, and the whole three-page list of things that they're required.
So it's not our maintenance department.
Well, they may be. We'll see what it is. We got to go up there and see what the extent of it is. I know we had a leak. They fixed the roof, but it didn't answer the problems on the inside. So, no, I can't answer that question. I do not know. It was brought to my attention. I think maybe been you or someone else said, "Hey, why don't we do a Saturday morning and fix it?" It's commendable, but frankly, when I get up that high, I fall off. So, we need to get the right people to do it for a reasonable price. We'll research. We'll get back to it and see what we can get done. But I just want to be careful what we call it. This thing will be in a big plastic ball.
Okay, any more questions? Harold? It's Harold O'Brien, by the way.
I'm sorry, Harold O'Brien. They know the board has to approve committee members. When I was on the board, I've never heard of it before. Is this a new procedure? I'm sorry. I've not heard before about the board has to approve committee members.
Yes, sir. We've already.
Is this not when I was on the board?
It's in the bylaw.
So this is a new procedure? Okay, so you approved all board, all the committee?
Correct.
Y'all should.
Thank you, Harold. Thank you. Yes, we had another question? Yes, sir.
Wrong tree. I don't know who's responsible, but the flag at the post office needs replacing.
Tattered again? Okay. We'll take care of it. Any more questions?
Here.
Yes, sir.
John Falk, I'm a property owner. I live at 111 Mount Wild. My couple of suggestions, and I don't know if the golf tournament, it would be great if the board would support that, buy a hole or whatever and, play in it. Also, there's a fly-in in the month of September.
That is correct.
Do you know what date that is?
Don't want to get the wrong date. I think it's the 28th, and I can't tell you exactly because it's run by another group, club. They set it up, and I don't want to steal their thunder. Speak for
Well,
us.
that'd be great if you do that.
Usually the fourth Saturday.
Usually the fourth Saturday in September. It's a lot of fun with the flower drop and that type of thing.
But they're going to put flyers out there.
And we've got an event September the 24th.
I gave everybody some flyers for Troop Over the Hill, and it's going to be right here, and it's a singer from Houston who's going to do Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, the classics. And it is a fundraiser to start our building fund.
And it's going to sell out, so get your tickets real quick.
Tables of 8 for $300.
Colonel Lukey, I think that you're also in charge of the lights. Is that correct?
Which lights?
The lights.
Oh, lights.
No, sir. Let Jerry talk.
Okay. Do you know where we stand with TCEQ on the emergency safety plan and the repairs that they have recommended back in 2014 and 15?
They came out and inspected September of 15. We had a engineer out, I think it was in October of 15, Weeps. What's her name, Jack? Phelps? Vulcan Weeps. He came out and also inspected the dams at our request. And all of the repairs have been done. The things that we are still deficient on are getting the H&H analysis done.
But hydraulic and hydrostatic or something?
Hydraulic and what is that word? Hydrologic, I believe. We have to have those done. That's all about dam failure. We still have to get those done. That's $4,500 per dam. We sent a letter in to TCEQ requesting allowing us to do one dam a year because it's so expensive, which they agreed to, and they gave us a list of what orders to do them in here and so forth. So we will have that in the budget for next year, at which time we'll do our emergency evacuation plan. If you look at those lakes, it doesn't appear that we will have any life in danger behind the big dams, which would be Swan and Concord, but we'll let them determine that.
It has like a 38% ratio, when it should be 75. And there
It
is,
did in 1979.
and there is a potential liability for downstream at least 4 residents. Also, I'd like to volunteer, Renee, if I can help you on the fixed assets replacement. What we could do is go get the tax assessors for each one of the pieces of property and basically make a schedule, take a look at the depreciation schedule, and we can probably come up with a pretty good estimate in-house. And if I can help you do that, I'd be more than happy to do it. We've got the elections coming up, and Randy, we have discussed this before. There are some legal deficiencies
Okay,
in
John.
the way the POA is going to run. I've asked every year to do it correctly. You've stonewalled me, and I assume you're going to stonewall me again.
We've gone to our attorney on that also. That cost us some money, and we've been for money to find out, and we are doing it correctly. That's in the story, man. We've done it. We've checked on it. We're doing it right. We're going to do it the same way. That's the way we're going to do it.
You're not going to provide a membership list.
We don't have one, John. We've told you that. We do not
That's
have one.
what the girls
Where
check
is it?
off. That's what the girls check off.
We don't have
Look
one.
at each
Okay.
one.
Where's the motion to adjourn?
All right. That's all. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Joe?
My name's Joe Bledsoe. I'm on the property here since 09, lived here since 11. Several weeks ago, probably poor judgment on my part, I joined the Hilltop Lakes Facebook page.
We'll do it for you. We'll get it together. Thank you.
Follow on to your question, John. Flying on the 24th of September. It's the third Saturday, I think. Anyway, it's the 24th.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion, second.